Oos. Combat sports, MMA, boxing versus animal slaughtering. Alright, so I'm gonna talk about combat sports, right? If you know, like MMA, kickboxing, boxing, I'm up throw like football in there too. It's not really a combat sport, but you do, take hits, right? Should it be banned? Me personally, I don't have a problem with it, but I will knowledge people about it. I will explain the dangers of getting into full contact sports, right? Combat sports, right? Um, if you know how to play the game, right, and you're the one not getting the hitting, you avoid getting hit, then you have a better chance of avoiding injuries long term, like, brain damage, physically, mentally, injuries, right? As far as this world is run, the system, the world you live in, you can basically make it whatever you want to make it, right? But in the system, you have movies, actors, musicians, full contact fighters, boxers, kickboxers, MMA fighters, right? And it's a big corporation that control all these things to bring in the money, right? So there's betting, gambling going on and everything, right? If you look around, and you could see that a lot of things is based on negativity. If you look around, you could see that whenever it's too positive, it doesn't really get any notice, right? A lot of people don't pay attention to that. You only love the negative things, the drama, because the drama sells, like the news, the shootings, what's going on with the police, all these things that are put there so people could pay attention to it. Negative stuff, right? To bring people down. If you try to show anything positive, a matter of fact, they won't even show any positive things because they don't want to uplift the people. Negativity will always bring you down, and they want to keep you down, right? So you have your movie stars, you have your actors, your singers, your martial artists, full contact fighters that sometimes speak positive things, and do positive things. But what happened, they get censored, or they end up vanishing. They cease to exist anymore, right? They don't get the limelight anymore. Because you remember, with entertainment, mainstream is what reach the masses, right? So whenever you start to be too positive and seem like you want to make a difference, a change in the world to make the world a better place, they will try to get you out of there. They don't want you around. So there's always positive artists out there, martial artists out there. Some of them are in the mainstream, and some of them are not, right? So for me, saying all this, MMA, full contact sports, being a movie actor, singer, you have the choice if you want to be that, if you want to pursue that career. You know, you know the dangers of it, or maybe you might not know the dangers of it. When you become a celebrity, so forth, you want to say, there are things that you're going to have to do, that you're going to have to change. You're going to have to change yourself when you go mainstream. Do you want to do that? There's stuff you got to have to sign and give up. Do you want to give those things up? When you become a full contact fighter, there's long-term damages that might happen to you. It doesn't have to know. Just it depends on how you play the game. How good are you, competing in that sport? Do you take, a lot of hits to the head, or you're a brawler that sits in the pocket and just keep getting banged in the head? Maybe you could just take one good punch and then it, catches you later on in life, right? So it just all depends, if you want to play the game, depends, You have the choice if you want to play MMA, boxer, football, you want to be on the big screen, you make the decision on what you want to do. Nobody forces you to do that, right? Now I could say now, a lot of people probably say, oh man, it's brutal sport, a lot of blood, all these things. Yeah, it has a lot of blood, it's brutal, yeah. There are martial artists that fight in MMA, and there are fighters. It's a difference. You could tell when there's a martial artist in MMA, in kickboxing. You can tell by their skill set. They take the least damage. right? Not all of them do, but majority of them take the least damage. That's a martial artist. You do the hitting and you don't get hit, you know? To me, Floyd Mayweather is a boxer, but to me, he's like a martial artist, right? He do the hitting and he don't get hit, right? Stephen Thompson, Dominic Cruz, just to name a few, right? So, as I said, it all depends on how you play the game, and yeah, it's brutal, and you have to educate yourself before you enter into it, and you don't have to, right? Now, I could say, if MMA is brutal, right, isn't killing animals brutal too? That's worse than anything else because you're actually killing the animals. In MMA, football, yeah, there might be, one or two deaths, but very rarely that happens. And usually when that happens, because the person goes into the cage with some underlying problems from before, maybe they didn't get checked out properly, or you have people fighting in the sport that don't belong in the sport, right? Now, anybody can fight MMA, basically, but it's not for everybody. But anybody can participate in it. It could be amateur fights, name it, any local fight, right? But it's not for everybody, right? And you could tell they got guys in there who don't know even how to properly punch. They don't know how to properly move around with footwork. They don't know how to defend the techniques. You see what I'm saying? Once you don't know the basics, you shouldn't be in there because that's how you die. That's how you get killed in there. Because if you don't know how to defend against, a head kick, you don't know how to move left laterally so you can avoid the left hook, you're gonna get knocked out, and that's where the damage happens. So it's not the fact of people are just dying in there. It's the fact that there are people competing in the sport who don't belong in there, right? So, no, that being said, with the animals are killed daily to feed people. Daily. They're being fed all this corn and all these food to fatten them up, make them grow up quick with steroids to feed the masses of people, right? Which is bad for the environment, the ecosystem, right? Now, if you don't like MMA, says, oh, it's too violent, and all these things, but when you go home, you start eating a steak or eating some pork. You know what I'm saying? You kind of being a hypocrite, and the reason why it doesn't bother you because you're not the one killing the animal. So that's why you're not thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? But these animals have been slaughtered daily, get raped daily. The children get taken away from the moms, right? A lot of water they use in those slaughterhouses. Just sucking all of the earth's resources away, man. And that kind of living, it's not sustainable. Can't keep going on like that, man. You keep killing the animals like that, the earth one day is just gonna cave in on us, man. I'm telling you. It's just like someone going around killing us every day. They're just murdering us. Eventually, it's gonna be an unbalance in the earth. There's a reason why those animals are there, and it's not for us to eat it. We have food that we're supposed to be eating, but we're there eating the animals. Then don't make sense, man. And that's what I said. People looking at MMA, oh, it's brutal, this and that. Yeah, guys getting punched. Yeah, but you turn around eating hot dogs and pork, and eating the cow, eating the chickens. Then, what makes you different? If it's anything, you were being a hypocrite, and you're actually worse. You're actually worse than the sport. Because you're eating something that's dead, that's been killed for you to eat. You see what I'm saying? When you have other food that you can eat. So, that's just basically it, man. Sometimes I just get tired of just talking. Only a few people will understand what I'm saying. Only a little percent will understand. So that's just what it is, man. Fortunately, the way how things are going right now, usually I don't really pay attention to it. Actually, I don't pay attention to it, to be honest with you, but I could feel it. You know what I'm saying? I can feel that it's just not looking good at all. It's actually getting worse. Worse, it's getting worse. And I mean, I'm talking about the environment, the earth itself. We're treating the planet like crap, and we're murdering all the animals them and sucking the resources dry, and pollution, and the greed of man. It's just gonna end up destroying the earth, man. Everything's gonna cave in, man. Everything's gonna cave in, and that's just what it is. It happened before. It's gonna happen again. So all I'm saying is that MMA, kickboxing, you can learn a lot from it. There are martial artists in there. There are fighters in there. There are martial artists who are fighters. You just have to knowledge yourself about it. Know how to play the game. Avoid getting the injuries. Once you know that, you will be okay. For people that are against it, yeah, you can always be against something. But if you are doing other things like murdering the animals and stuff like that, you have nothing to say because you're just being a hypocrite. If you're still eating animals, you can't talk about you hate this sport, hate that sport, is too brutal. But I guess eating animals is sane. That's like the right thing to do, right? You see, I'm saying murdering a living thing is the right thing to do, or it's just right because you're not the one doing it, right? See what I'm saying? It's about having compassion for all living things, right? And it's not just, oh, because I don't see it, so it's okay, right? How you think that chicken or that steak get into your plate? Somebody had to murder it, right? So that you can go in the store and buy it. But when you're purchasing it, it's all wrapped up nice in plastic and look nice and neat. Good presentation is the key. So when you look at it, you're probably thinking that it was never killed, because the way how they present it to you. So you have to think about those things, man. If you want to make a change, do the opposite of what you've been taught, right? Then you see the difference in everything eventually. It takes time, but whatever you were taught about eating animals and all these things, telling you that's not the way to go. Believe me. Trust me on that. I'm going to leave you with this. In any sport, combat sport, any game, you have a decision to make if you want to compete in it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. You have the decision if you want to compete or not. The animals then don't have any say. They don't make no decision if they want to get slaughtered or not. They don't just sit down one day and think, oh, I think today is a good day to get slaughtered. Should I sign up for that or should I not? Nope. They just get gathered up, thrown to a truck back, or wherever they put them in the trailer trucks, drive them to the slaughterhouse and butcher them, rape them, take away the kids from the moms, the babies from the mothers, and hundreds and thousands of animals are being slaughtered daily. And they have no decision in this matter, if they want to get slaughtered or not. They can't opt out and go, oh, not today, guys. I have other things to do. Nope. No say. So that's something to think about.